Welcome and study with Tanzania Institute of Education.
My name is Mesha Kimihare, a teacher of very interesting subject known as biology. I am here to discuss with you on a very interesting topic of Form 2 known as transport of materials in living things. Now, before we go on, let me ask you, a student, have you moved anything from one point to another today? And if yes, what was it? Just tell me. Okay, I think you moved anything from one part to another. Let's say toothbrush, toothpaste, water, and so on. Now, what you did, moving something from one point to another, you was transporting that material from one place to another. Now, forget about transport of other materials. Now, let us go to focus on the transport of materials in living things. Have you ever known that things are just transported in your body? What happens when you drink water? What happens when you take in food? Are they just going to stay somewhere or they are transported from one point to another? They answer that they are transported from one point to another within your body. Now, let us go to see on how things are just transported in your body. Let us discuss the general concept of transport. Remind you, in a previous unit, you discussed it on nutrition in both plants and animals. Begin with the nutrition in a plant. You discussed that plants make their own food through the process of photosynthesis in the leaves. Now, when the food is just made in the leaves, now the food have to be transported either for use or for storage. That is for the case of a plant. Now, likewise, you discussed the process of nutrition in animals. Also, in animals, you say that during the process of digestion, food materials are just absorbed in the part known as small intestine or urea. Now, those food substances, they are absorbed in the blood vessels. After absorption of the food in the blood vessels, now the food are just transported to different parts of the body, either for use or for storage. And mind you, within our bodies, some waste also are being produced. Now, those waste materials has also to be removed from our bodies, because if they are left there, they are going to harm our body. They are going to make us suffering from disease, and we may also die because of the accumulation of waste product. Now, also waste have to be removed out of our body. Now, all of those mechanisms of transporting nutrients within the plant and within a human being like me and you, transporting waste products from our bodies and also in the plants, although all those processes are just involving transport of material. So now, what is the meaning of transport now? Can you tell me the meaning of transport? Can you just try to make a correct meaning or definition of transport? Okay, now, transport refers to the movement of materials from one part to another in living organisms. Can you remind me what materials are just being moved from one point to another in the body, as we have discussed it? Materials which are just moved in the body are just like food nutrient, oxygen, hormone, enzymes, and waste product. So those are the materials which are being moved or transported within the body. Now, let me take a written note. Now the meaning, transport refers to the movement of materials from one part to another in living organisms like me and you. Now, and we said examples of materials. Examples of materials that are transported. Are like what? We said food and nutrients, what else? Oxygen. What else? Hormone. What else? Enzymes. What else? Waste product. Now, all of these materials are just transported from one part to another within your body for efficient functioning of the body. Now, let us come to look on the importance of transport of materials in living organism. Now, what are the importance of transporting materials within the body of living organism? Materials has to be transported from one part to another in order to ensure proper functioning of the body. So now, the following are the importance of transport of materials in the living organism. Now, importance. Now, just to think, what do you think are the importance of transporting materials in your body? Can you try to give me any importance of transporting materials into your body? Good. One of the importance of transporting materials in your body is to enable distribution of food and nutrients within all your body in the body series. So number one is just enable distribution of materials, food and nutrients in your body to all cells. So number one is enable transport and the distribution of food and nutrients in all body series. This is number one. So, transport enable transportation and the distribution of food and nutrients in all body series. From head to toe, because body series are just throughout the whole body. Each part of the body has got a body series. And all body series need food and nutrient and oxygen for the process of releasing energy, by the process known as respiration. Now, what is another important? What do you think is another importance of transporting materials in your body. Can you just tell me? Good. Another importance is that transport of materials enable the distribution of excess food materials from one place where they are produced to the storage areas. So now, number 2, enables transport of excess food materials to the storage areas or site. Take an example in a plant. We said that in a plant, food are just manufactured in the leaves by the process of photosynthesis. Now, the food manufactured in a plant has to be used, but the excess food has to be stored in the body of the plant. Now, various plants has got different storage organs. For example, let us take an example, a good example of, let's say, cassava. The storage organ of cassava is root. So now, the excess food in a plant, that is glucose, has to be converted into starch and then transported to the roots for storage. So when you eat cassava, you are just eating starch, which is the food stored in the plant, cassava. Now, coming to human being, also we take food containing carbohydrate and mainly glucose. So when we have excess glucose in our body, the excess glucose are being converted into glycogen and then transported and being stored in the muscles. So that is importance of transport. And importance number 3, transport enables transportation or remove of waste product of the body metabolism from our bodies, which can harm us. So it enables transport. Enables transport of waste product of metabolism to the excretory organs. So these waste products are just transported to the excretory organs. For example, we have carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a waste product which is produced in our body during the process of respiration. Do you know where carbon dioxide is produced? Carbon dioxide is produced in our bodies, in our body cells after the process of respiration. But if carbon dioxide is to be stored there in the body cell, it will harm your body, so you will die. Then carbon dioxide have to be transported to its excretory organ. Do you know what is it? It is taken to the lung, and there to the lung, carbon dioxide is being exhaled out. Then it will remain safe. That's why we take in oxygen and taking out carbon dioxide. Now, these are among of the importance of transporting materials in living organisms. Now, from the importance of transport, now let us go to discuss another part in the general concept of transport. And the part next is ways of transporting materials in our bodies. Now, we need to know, we said that various materials are just transported in our bodies. But can you ask yourself, how those materials are being transported in your body? Is there any car which is transporting those materials? Is there any roads transporting those materials? Now, how those materials are being transported. Now, we have the way of transporting materials in our bodies. Transport of materials in our bodies takes place within the cell. Most of the life processes in our bodies takes place at the cell level. Therefore, materials has to move in and out of the cell in order to ensure transportation of materials within and out of the cell. Now, because materials has to to move in and out of the cell. Because materials has to move in and out of the cell. This is the cell. Now, let's say this is the animal cell. So, materials have to move inside. Can you tell me what are the materials moving inside? Good. Materials moving inside the cell are just like oxygen and what else? Nutrients. Oxygen and the nutrients are just moving inside the cell for the process of respiration. But some materials are moving out of the cell. So others are entering and others are leaving the cell. Can you tell me what are the materials leaving the cell? Good. Those materials leaving the cell are the waste product like carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is produced within the cell by the process of respiration, and it has to be taken out of the cell. So example of materials moved out is like carbon dioxide. So now, when you are discussing ways of transport, we need to know how materials are just transported in and out of the cell. Now we need to see how materials are crossing here, this membrane. How materials are crossing in and out of the cell. Now we have two ways by which materials move across the cell membrane. So we have two ways of transport. Or we may say types of transport. Types of transport. We have two types. We have two types or we have two ways. Number one is active transport. Active transport. And number two, passive transport. So materials move across the cell membrane by two mechanisms, whether active or passive. Now, start with number one, active transport. Now, when I say active, if someone tells you that be active, means that you have to be energetic. If someone tells you, hey, suppose you're just in the parade, and then someone tells you to be active, that means that you are required to be energetic and stay strong. So now, it is like our means of transport here. This is active transport. Now, active transport is that type of transport which use energy to move materials across the cell membrane. And the energy used is it is not that the materials are just pushed like using such kind of energy. No, there is a special energy in your body known as ATP. So ATP, the energy which is used to move materials across the cell membrane. So here in active transport, the way or the type of transport. The type of transport whereby energy is required. Across the cell membrane. Across the cell membrane. Another type is passive transport. That is type number two, passive transport. How do you understand by the term passive? Passive means freedom, without use energy. So now, when we come to talk about passive transport, now this is the type of transport which does not use energy to transport materials across the cell membrane. So, the type of transport which does not require energy to transport materials across the cell membrane. Across the cell membrane. Now, passive transport is divided into 3 types. Can you guess them? What are the 3 types of passive transport? 1, okay, 1 is diffusion. So types of passive transport. Three types. 1 is diffusion. Another, osmosis. Another type is osmosis. Now, can you tell me the last type of passive transport? Good, that is mass flow. Mass flow. So, diffusion, osmosis, and mass flow are the 3 types of passive transport. Now, let us discuss just one among the 3. We are going to discuss all of them, but let us discuss only one in a brief. Number 1, diffusion. And what do you understand by the term diffusion, dear student? Have you seen any materials diffusing from one place to another? And if yes, what are they? Can you give me any example of diffusion? Have you observed anything diffusing in your environment? Now, talk of diffusion. Diffusion is just a type of passive transport whereby it involves movement of materials or movement of molecules from a region where they are concentrated to the region where they are less concentrated. In other way, diffusion is the movement of materials from a region where there is high concentration to a region where there is low concentration. That is diffusion. So let me write here for you. Diffusion. Now, diffusion is the movement. Of molecules, mainly solute molecule, from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. Now, that is diffusion. Now, simply, let me show you one example of how materials diffuse from a region of high concentration to low concentration. Now, here is a cup, and here is water. I just want to put water in the cup. Can you see me? This is water, hot water. And then here I have some coffee. So now, look, this is coffee. I will put here in water, showing that in one part of the tea, now this coffee will be concentrated. But now, following the diffusion law, now this coffee will just split throughout the whole cup. And all water will change color because of the process of diffusion. Because these materials will move from a region where we just put them to other region following the concept of diffusion. That now it is involving the movement of materials from a region where they are concentrated to a region where there is low concentration. Now, just observe. Can you see? Now, water is changing color now. This means that these materials are just moving from here, where they are highly concentrated, to the region where they are low concentrated. Can you see? Now the whole cup is going to change color. Now this is what we call diffusion, that it is the movement of materials from, it is the movement of molecules from a region of high concentration, like here where I used to put them, to a region of low concentration. This is osmosis. No, this is diffusion. And we are trying to demonstrate how particles, molecules move from high concentrated region to low concentrated region. Thank you for today. This is the end of the session of today.
Let's study, be educated.